listening to our podcast, the Slowpoke Travel Podcast. We hope you enjoy our podcast. The podcast starts right now. Slowpoke Travel Podcast with Buck and Camera Girl. Ta-da!
Hola! And welcome to Slowpoke Travel. It's on. There you have it. So we got our mics recording. Oh, let me do this here. Technical stuff. So hopefully these mics will offset this very busy road that is 5 feet outside the window. Big buses go by. So it's a noisy environment that we're filming in. So
it's all about your perspective.
Yeah, but I have confidence in these microphones. So we'll see how that goes. But we're at an Airbnb. We're on the road. We're in transit.
In transit, isn't that our life?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But we've been in Florida for such a long time.
Well, in the U.S., yeah, because we did do a little traveling.
Yeah. I mean, we were in Mexico when the pandemic started. And so we fled back to the United States after 5 months in Mexico. And then we'd just been in the United States. We didn't do anything the first year like a lot of people. Right. The second year, we ended up going out and doing some house sitting. Then last year, we did a lot of house sitting, but we did it all in Florida. And so we've been planning on going for a long time, but it's taken us a while to actually pull the trigger. But now we are out of the country.
The Buck is very happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got the ball rolling. I mean, this is a travel channel. So at least now potentially we have some interesting travel stuff to put up. Although,
come on.
I mean, we could have had interesting stuff. I've mentioned this before. You could find interesting things wherever you are. It's just, I don't know.
You have a restless soul. You want to
like
travel. But we did, because we could have done some great videos about some little out of the way places we stayed.
I've been so much time in Tampa, and I spent so much time in Tampa, I semi-loathe Tampa. But there's some good stuff in Tampa. Tampa. What is there?
You changed family.
Family.
And we changed around some eating stuff that we said we were going to do for a while.
What's that got to do with Tampa?
We were there for family.
I rest my case.
No.
Well, you haven't named anything
because
yet. We could have shot some stuff in Ybor City.
We've been around, we've been outside the U.S. for 2 weeks. And in that period of time in general, we would have, I don't know what that was.
I don't know either.
We would have had at least 2 weeks, 16 to 18 pastries.
We gave up pastries in a long time. But we're
Not
in...
that we don't eat them at all.
We're in Ecuador. I've got some footage shot, but I don't have anything edited yet. So I'm working on some stuff. So hopefully we'll have some of those videos in the pipeline before too long. But today I thought I would do just a video looking at some comments we got. So a couple of comments have stuck in my head that we've gotten over the last few months. We used to do some comment videos more regularly, but I need to get back to that, because then it inspires people to leave comments too, which is always a good thing. But we appreciate the comments, but I got a few of them here written down, and I haven't even shown you which ones I have.
Yeah, this is one of those videos I was just told, come report. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I got some comments, and I'm going to read them, and then I want to see what you think about it, and I've got something I think about it.
No.
But we'll see where this goes. But this first one I got here is from Perry, and he's been watching our stuff for a long time. But Perry writes, I would like to see you go to another country besides Mexico. Hopefully, you have a credit card where you earn frequent flyer miles. Fly someplace on the other side of the world. Since Asian food is my favorite, I would love to see you cooking Asian food in an Asian country.
Oh, that's true.
Mexican food is my least favorite.
Oh,
Enjoyed seeing you two in your natural habitat today discussing blah, blah, blah. So this was on one of our little talkie videos, and he left this comment. And what got me was hopefully you will have a credit card where you earn frequent flyer miles. Do we earn frequent flyer miles?
We have different options. There is one where we do. We generally, for travel, use one where you just get points for using the card, period, and you can use it on flights or a variety of things so that we're not locked into a particular airline.
Yeah, but we like to travel, but we never fly. How often do we fly?
When you go to another country?
Yeah, but it's not that often. When we flew to Mexico, we flew to Mexico.
Imagine.
But we didn't fly back for 5 months. We're not jet setting around because I think that's part of our strategy. We're slowpoke travel because going slow is it's more affordable. It's more cost effective the slower you go.
Yeah, but it also allows us, like this time, we got a tiny bit under the weather, and because we don't have just 2 days in a place, we're not feeling the pressure to, oh my God, we got to go see this new place, this wonderful place, blah, blah, blah. That's another reason.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't feel
works.
like we have to go see stuff. Boom, boom, boom. I don't feel like we're on vacation. You know?
Yeah, but life experiences means you can still want to go see stuff.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like sitting in coffee shops.
No, I had no idea.
But we don't, I mean, we're going somewhere to live.
Sure, but okay, not to get too philosophical, every day you're living. Doesn't matter.
She accidentally got too philosophical. But here, so we don't, I don't know, frequent flyer miles. The way I look at it, the less we fly, the better.
Okay.
You know?
And I've said this before, I'm so fortunate. I have you to travel with, and I have my friend Laura to travel with, and we like to be like two little kids.
God.
Go everywhere.
When you and Laura go on a trip, your itinerary makes me sweat. I'm exhausted.
It really does.
Just from reading your plans.
All right, but anyway. But this other part was so fun for him to say, I'd love to see you cooking Asian food.
We looked hard at Asia. We almost came to Asia instead of here. We were looking hard at going to Vietnam and starting off. But I don't know. I think the visa stuff didn't look as promising. Although, I mean, we'd be jumping around. But like we couldn't go to Vietnam and just easily stay for 3 months.
No, that's true.
Or maybe we could. I don't know. We don't really... We looked into it and decided that we couldn't.
Yeah, that it was just going to be not impossible, but just a few more hoops. And we thought getting back on the international road, we wanted something a little more straightforward in terms of the visa process.
And this, Ecuador is just, from Florida. We could almost swim it. No,
you don't swim.
It's on the other side. Well, I mean, I'd have to put on water wings. But
yeah, that's just lovely. Because I agree. I would love to see you cooking us Asian food in an Asian country.
But the thing is, if we were in an Asian country, we'd probably be in a little dinky-doo that didn't really have cooking facilities.
That may be, but who knows? We could, you always make friends when you go places. Maybe we could be in their kitchen. Yeah,
well, we'll figure something out. And then he says Mexican food is my least favorite. I tell you, I used to not be crazy about Mexican food. Mexican food used to just be, to me, it was just something you ate every now and then. You go out to a Mexican restaurant,
But you hadn't had authentic
And
Mexican.
I tell you, man, when we went to Mexico and I'd heard that the food was going to be good, I'm still raving about it. Years later, I'm still raving about it.
Part of it's because he could pay $1 and get 3 really flavorful tacos.
Don't say that. Was it delicious?
It was.
It was. It wasn't just because it was more affordable. Okay, so that's it. So that's the first comment.
Thanks,
Perry, as always. And then Mark, he's been watching and leaving comments for a long time. And Mark writes, I randomly came across one of your videos several years ago where you ended the video with, hey, I'm just a middle-aged guy trying not to have a heart attack. And I've enjoyed your videos ever since. Changing eating habits is a mindset that helps the aging process for sure. Happy 2023.
Aww.
So yeah, I know the video that Mark's talking about. And I said, hey, I'm just a middle-aged guy trying not to have a heart attack. And I think I made that video maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was a while.
9 years ago? So, am I still a middle-aged guy trying not to have a heart attack? What is middle age? I think I have it up. I think I have that on our Slowpoke Travel banner. I think I call us two middle-aged people.
I think you do.
How long are we going to be middle-aged? What is middle-aged?
Some people would look at our hair and decide we are old.
Well, sure, but you can, I was going gray a long time ago. There, you can have gray hair in your 20s, so gray isn't a determining
Yeah,
factor.
but I think there's these
What
other
are the
telltale
numbers?
signs.
So the average life expectancy, I think, for a man or woman, they're a little different. You guys, you ages out a little bit, but I think it's late 70s, right? So let's call it 80. Let's say
80 is old now?
No, I'm saying that's 80 is a little bit past the average life expectancy. I think the average life expectancy is like what, 70?
Okay, I got philosophical. You just got morbid.
What? That's a good number. How much longer do you want to live than that? I mean, my knees are ready to go now. And when they go, they're going to go slow.
Whatever. What I loved about his comment was just, you do have a funny sense of humor. You can't always tell when you're making
but
fun.
you're mucking up my point. My point
okay.
was I'm trying to figure out what is middle age.
It's okay to have a heart attack when you're old?
No, I want to know, when can't we say that we're middle aged? So if you live to 80, if that's the average life expectancy, so what is youth, middle age, old age? When does old age start? What is the line?
You're talking to a woman who rarely remembers how old she was at 19 or 16.
This has got nothing to do with our age. I'm talking about.
I'm just saying, so it's not, for me, age is not really the thing. So
are you saying age is not a number?
Apparently not for me, because I can't remember them.
Yeah.
So there.
But anyway, so let's say that youth is from the get-go, and then from there you were
colicky.
You're skyrocketing up into your prime, which is somewhere in your youth. Well, I'm just saying, if you're watching National Geographic and talking about running around and procreating and everything, you're in your prime in your teens and 20s. And then you start your family, and then you raise your family, and then it goes downhill. I'm just talking about primordially. Primordial. Well, I shouldn't try to use too big a word.
I was going to say that was not
the
right use of that word.
So you're young from 0 to 30. Then what's middle age? Because 30 isn't middle age. I was young when I was 30.
I was going to say, I think you got to go more to 40,
Sure.
45.
Okay, let's say 40 is the beginning of middle age.
Oh, I'm playing this game with you, but how much longer do we have to play this numbers game?
Because I want to know when I'm old. when I slide into old age.
We just saw a picture of someone who was 99 and had this beautiful smile, wonderful. What was your idea? 99, you're thinking somebody's in a wheelchair, slumped.
Yeah.
It's all about...
Yeah, but that's a photograph. It was a photograph. I make videos. If you go frame to frame in a video, you can find a good picture.
Changing eating habits is a mindset that helps the aging process for sure.
Okay,
Thank you, Mark.
I guess CG's finished talking about middle age.
No, I'm just saying.
So,
well, what does it mean to you? What difference does it? It's a mindset too.
So I'm this close to 60.
And mentally, he's a worrywart. So he's about 92.
Yeah. So if youth is 0 to 35 or something, and then middle age is something to something.
I said 45.
If average life expectancy is only 80, then old age, if you're breaking it up into thirds, it's got to start at
They don't
least
have to
around
be
60.
equal portions.
Well, I'm not talking about equal portions. Anyway, I thought we were going to get more definitive. I didn't know you were going to be so combative.
Combative.
On this here. Well, between the two of us,
You've known me a long time.
Semi-intelligent people, we couldn't come to a consensus
Okay.
on what old age and middle age is. So I'm middle age. I'm going to hold on to middle age. So
Okay,
even
if that
though I
label
made this
helps you.
video a long time ago. So anyway, thank you, Mark, for sticking around all those years. Now we got this comment here from Christine. And she writes, I am with you. And this was on a video where we talked about house sitting. And she's a house sitter.
Oh, okay.
And she says, I'm with you on the quest for the right house sit, based upon my criteria, which appear to be the same as yours. So her criteria for a house sit is warm temperatures, an easy pet, the length of the sit, and it being a new locale. That's what she looks for.
For her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she says, I suppose we are in a healthy competition with one another, because that's kind of the criteria that we look at. And then she says, Happy New Year to you and Camera Girl. Well, yes, we do have the same criteria as Christine for house sitting.
Sort of. And then there's that amorphous, the vibe you get from the profile and the pics and everything. Because there have been times, I convinced you to go to Ucluelet in the rainy, stormy season. In fact, you can go there to watch storms. It's in this isolated area. 3 cats. They had some reviews, though, didn't they?
Yes.
We had some information.
No. That was their first time using it.
I think so. I think they had been sitters, but that's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah.
So sometimes you take a risk, and that's one of our best sits ever.
Yeah,
I need to write
that was
an email.
a cool, chilly locale, but our criteria for what we were looking for was different years ago. Recently, we've just only been interested in warm places. But the reason I wanted to bring this up was so that we could plug our house sitting thingamabob. Because I'll have a link down below to Trusted House Sitters. And you can go down there.
Site.
And if you use Trusted House Sitters site for house sitting, and you use that link, you can get, I think, 20% off.
20 or 30, depending on what's going on at the time.
I think it's 20% or maybe 25%. But check it out, because if you use it, then we get a couple of months added on to our account.
Yeah.
So, and if you're interested in house sitting, it is a great service to use. Although they have tweaked it recently and made it not as good. It's still great. It's still awesome, but
I think because of their volume, they've just had to make some changes. It's still much more user-friendly than some of the others we tried. Although maybe we need to try some others.
No. This one's perfect. It is so easy, and we get the notifications and everything. It's fantastic, except for they changed it recently, where I guess homeowners looking for a house sitter can only get 5 applicants.
Yeah, before they shut it down.
Yeah.
And then they show, and as a homeowner, I wouldn't like this. They'll show others that have been up for like 12 hours or something. Low applications.
Well,
now, do you
fine.
want to know that?
That's fine.
No, I don't want you to be like, nobody's applied for mine.
Yeah, but low applications doesn't mean it's not a good house sit. It could be a great house sit.
I know, but it just...
But some locations
but they're trying different things.
are better than others, for ease of access to get to. When we look at a house set, we have to factor in how much is it going to cost us to get there? How easy is it going to be for us to get there and get back? We have to think of all the costs we'll incur to do the house sit, and balance that out with the benefits of the house sit, which are usually staggeringly high benefits, because you don't pay for rent, you don't pay for utilities, you don't pay for Wi-Fi. Oftentimes you're in a more expensive area than you would normally choose to be. It's certainly true for us. So it's great, except for this new change with the application thing, because we saw a great house sit the other day. It was going to be like 7 months in Portland at a really nice looking house, and we saw it,
and
I was
that
like,
animal is so cute.
Yeah, I was telling CG, I was saying, man, we look at this, look at it quick, and we got to apply for this. And she started twiddling her thumbs a little bit.
No, there was something else going on.
There was something else going on.
And so it was 15 minutes later, and literally they, as Christine said, there's competition.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, they had their 5 applicants. They were shut down.
And it was gone.
I was like, okay.
We didn't prioritize it, which we should have at that moment.
For good reason.
Because, I don't know. We have been doing this now for quite a few years. We've got good reviews. We've got a good track record. I think we would have definitely been in the running for that house sit if we had applied for it. But because of this new change they made where you only get 5 applications, we weren't able to apply for it.
But it must have been from the homeowner's standpoint. They were bombarded. And instead of just looking at the first 5 or 7, they just...
No.
Well,
Because
that is another thing I like about this site. I think some of the changes are truly based on feedback from users.
Yeah, but as a homeowner, you can stop your applications anytime you want. You know, if a homeowner is just letting the applications rack up, that's not a good sign anyway.
Okay. Well, anyway, so, but that is fun.
But here's
another
another thing I wanted to mention is Christine says that we are in a healthy competition with one another. But I think that there are potentially so many house sits available. You know, I think, you know, we encourage people to house sit, you know, as a way to travel, because that is a big part of how we're able to maintain the travel lifestyle that we have. But it is, and I never plug this too much, but if you have a pet, if you are a pet owner and you want to travel, or you just need somebody to take care of your home and pet while you're not there, this is a fantastic service for that. You know, you have your cousin in DC, and we hooked them up with that because they had trouble, because they have a wonderful dog, but they have trouble traveling and getting somebody to take care of their dog. And they were using a service. What was the service? It was some kind of professional
it's online
service where they would pay somebody to come and take their dog out for a walk. And so they were paying for it and not getting a great service because then you just have somebody who's an employee, and so you're paying them a certain amount of money to do this, and you know they're just not interested in that money that day. You know, they don't have the right motivation because it's just a job for them. Whereas
but you are right. For us, this has worked out, and we have made some fantastic friends because you just meet people and you're going to stay at their home. You're going to be with their animals, and you're right.
But for us
it's
as a
worth
house
it.
sitter, we are more motivated because our motivation isn't getting paid. We do get a great value from it, but our motivation is because we want to be in that location, because it looks appealing to us for some reason, or the area. So we have...
And then you can come home to a furry.
Yeah. We actually, I mean, Airbnb is it's a functional way to travel, but I would much rather be at a house sit than an Airbnb. For one thing, it's more cost effective, but it's just nicer because you're in a home, you've got everything a home already has. Being around pets is just a lot of fun. Now the thing is, there are lots of house and pet sits available in the United States, in Australia, in the United Kingdom, in Europe, but there are not as many in Asia, not as many in Central America and South America. But you know, Canada, US, Australia, England, a lot of those places, just tons of house sits. But, you know, more people need to get on board that are homeowners, I think, you know, and pet owners, because
I think a lot of people have, but I think you have to get to the point where you're comfortable. Even as a pet sitter, it took me a little while to get used to the whole concept of this barter system almost with people that you don't know.
Yeah, it is barter.
Yeah,
ideally.
But in some ways it just reminds you there are lots of amazing people out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And with
besides
comfortable
just
homes
the house
and
sit,
little pets.
you know, getting to see how different people live and meeting different kind of people, that's definitely a perk. Alrighty, now here I got one more. We'll wrap it up. This is from Lisa, and this was actually on the cooking channel. Because I think I put up a video a few weeks ago that wasn't a cooking video because I didn't have a cooking video ready. But Lisa wrote, "Y'all must have some serious dollars behind the scenes. Most people can't retire like that. Good on you. I seriously..." Oh, and then she talks about the wallpaper in the video. But she says that we must have a lot of money behind the scenes, and most people can't retire like that.
Oh my gosh, you've given Chef Buck, he can get on his soapbox.
I tell you what,
I think you should be able to travel with $3,000. You can go anywhere you want. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll let you do it.
I'm just saying that it doesn't take a lot of money to travel.
Do I have to be here for this one?
What?
To hear it again? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, well, no, I want your input. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of money. I think one of the best years I ever had in my life, and this was quite a while ago. This would have been in the 1990s. I think one year I made $5,000. I made $5,000 for the entire year.
Were you in Wyoming?
No, I hiked the summer on the Appalachian Trail, and
Oh,
yeah, I was.
okay.
I probably was in Wyoming
Okay.
part of the year too. So I was doing seasonal work, and then you would take time off in between. But I was backpacking, which doesn't take anything. Remember the book you read about the guy? I forget what the book was, but it was about some guy who was riding a motorcycle across China.
Yes.
And somebody had told him about how, they wished that they could do something like that. They would love to be able to save up the money and be able to do that one day. And his response was, it's like one of the cheapest things in the world to do. I mean,
Right.
it costs, you're sitting somewhere lamenting that you don't have the money to go motorcycle across China, when where you're sitting and living, it costs more to sit and live where you're at than it would cost. You would be saving money.
But everybody decides how much comfort, convenience,
That's true.
and security. Security means something different to different people as
That's
well.
very true. We don't have as much
So-
security as some people.
Well, I'm talking about security. You go to a new area. That's why I think pre-made quality tours are such a huge issue around the world. Is people want some predictability. This trip we've had different kinds of hiccups. Every trip is different. You have all kinds of things happen, and so I can understand people. It's like, but what I have here is comfortable. Like, thanks to Chef Buck, we both travel with a single backpack. Now, during the pandemic, it didn't take me nothing to slide back into throwing everything and its brother in the car if you wanted to go somewhere. You didn't have to pack for a flight, or you didn't have to pack for going with Chef Buck. You could have everything you wanted. It's lovely.
You can just call me Bud.
Buck instead. Okay, I
You
can
don't
do
have to
that.
call me Chef Buck. That sounds weird, sitting on the couch.
Buck. Okay, but
But yeah, we travel light.
We travel light, and there's no doubt about it. When you travel, there are times things are not going to meet your expectations, and that's no matter how much you pay.
That's very true.
Yeah, we have friends that they take amazing trips that are hundreds of thousands of dollars that last over months.
Who took a trip that was $100,000?
I talk to people more about that stuff than you do because he don't care. Anyway.
That's not even possible. What, did they go to the moon? Were they on that thing with Bezos?
Oh my God. All I'm saying is you can still have issues. So you decide how important travel is. But what I think is great is...
But the thing is, if you have issues during your travels, or if you have issues with a part of your travel, it's better to have an issue on something that's inexpensive. I wouldn't want to have issues on my $100,000 trip. If I got issues on my $2,000 trip, well, that doesn't seem as bad.
Or even a cruise. How about that? That's,
But you can spend a lot of money in a very short period of time. Now, we're in Ecuador.
That doesn't have anything to do with travel. I can spend a lot of money in a short period of time.
Yeah, but it does for the kind of travel that we have, because I was looking at a tour here in Ecuador. We could have gone on a tour, and it would have lasted 10 days, and it would have basically been about $1,000 each for us. So we could have spent $2,000 touring around different. No, it's compared to some other ways of traveling. It is,
right,
compared to some other kind of tour trips. We would have been in a lot of locations. It would have included some food, all travel, although it wouldn't have included our travel here. We'd have still had to pay those plane tickets. So it would have cost us $2,000 from the time we hit the ground to 10 days later. So that's 10 days. Whereas I'm hoping that we're going to spend less than $2,000 for a month just doing it on our own.
It does. It just depends on what you're comfortable planning, and then how good you are when it doesn't quite work out. I mean, and this is a very small example. We got to a bus station, and done all the research. Here's the bus we want to take and blah, blah, blah. When we get there, and that particular bus line was closed down. And I had looked the day before. So then you're figuring out, okay, what's our next option? And it happens to be this bus station. And I don't think this is more chaotic than one we had been in before.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, we had to sit down, we had to, sort of regroup, and we hadn't eaten, and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, we had to figure something out, and without having the language at our disposal, without having a guide to go, oh, okay, what should we do next, which would have been very easy. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons.
Yeah, but it's more exciting figuring it out on your own.
It is and it isn't. If you're not feeling 100%,
that's true.
For a little while, you sort of go, oh, okay. But again, whether you're traveling or you're at your 9 to 5 that you've been at for, well, people don't stay at their jobs for 50 years anymore, but your attitude makes a difference. Your mindset, again, makes a difference.
But I'm not talking about travel hiccups. I'm talking about you don't need a lot of money to travel. Like, we got phones.
That's true.
Like, we buy these phones and we buy them unlocked. And we keep them a long time.
Yeah, we do.
We usually keep a phone for, I don't know, until it stops working. So
and of course that's less and less. Our first one, I think we did keep for 8 years.
Yeah.
And we tried. I mean, I was messing around. Yeah. We got it working. Now it seems like it's more like 4 or 5.
But how much do we spend a month on a phone?
Well, we don't spend that much.
We don't spend much on our phone plan. And we don't buy new phones.
No, every year or anything, no.
We bought our car used. We paid for it. We don't ever have a car payment. We have very little insurance on the car. We don't have a lot of costs because we don't.
Well, we have to have some insurance because if we drive somebody else's car,
but I'm saying we have a little
covered.
insurance. But I'm just saying we don't have a newer car with higher insurance.
Sure.
We have an old car that's paid for, so the cost of that is very little. We don't buy phones every now and then. We don't buy computers very often. Although we just had to buy one. But part of that will be a tax write-off because we have a lifestyle business. All the money that we make online now. And we do it with the cooking videos and the travel videos. So, we're able to, even though we have to spend a lot of money on some gear, like the computers, we need nice stuff for that in order to do the videos. But that, even though that costs a lot, we're still very price conscious about the equipment we get, which is probably the most expensive part of our life.
It is, but even you just, talking about the phones and the this, that, and the other, part of that may be what Lisa's talking about is having money behind the scenes. For some people, they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Well, sure.
And that's not all by choice. Do you know what I mean? For some people,
no, I understand that, but that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is you don't
can travel.
Need a lot of money to travel. I mean, we don't live paycheck to paycheck because we don't. Well, I guess we have a paycheck, but it really fluctuates. I think our income, and I don't like talking about income, but I think. You don't want me to say?
No, I don't think numbers. I think numbers mean something different to different people.
Well, sure they do.
And there's no doubt about it. You see, we're not spending lots of money on clothes, makeup, hair,
but I like
whatever.
Numbers. One of my favorite podcasts is Gabriel Rutledge. He has a podcast. He's a professional comedian, but his podcast is fantastic. It's called The Drive Home with Gabriel Rutledge, and he podcasts, basically, he does a podcast on his way home from shows or sometimes going to shows. And it's basically about his life on the road as a stand-up comedian. And he talks about his finances a lot on there. And it's just very interesting. And he, to me, it sounds like he makes a lot of money. But, I mean, compared to us, he makes a lot of money. But he also lives in an expensive place. He's got a wife and kids. And, he has a lot to take care of. Like you and I. Like our budget this month is $3,000.
You're saying in terms of what we expect to come in,
Yes.
and so we do try to live within our
Yes.
means.
Yes. So like for the last 3 months, I think our income has been about $3,000 a month.
Okay.
For both of us, and that's before taxes. So at the end of the year, we'll have to pay taxes on that $3,000 plus all this other stuff. You know, it has been higher than that. I think the most we ever got one month was $6,000.
I thought we did 7 a few
It was
months.
between 6 and 7.
Yeah, okay.
But mostly 4 and 5. You know, the 1 year of the pandemic, we actually did pretty good. But now it's kind of snuffling back down. And so we're living in a budget basically between $3,000 and $4,000. And it's kind of heading towards the $3,000 range right now. And that's income for you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pay taxes on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to live within that budget. And we do. I mean, we have money saved up that we have from staying in that budget and having that surplus, and then that goes into the kiddie fund so that when a computer dies, we can buy the computer. And if we want to go on a trip somewhere, you know, we have the initial money to get started on that trip. Or if we wanted to, like we lived in Seattle, you know, we didn't know what we were doing when we first started traveling. We were just in the car driving around, and we ended up in Seattle and stayed there. But it takes money to start up in a place. You need thousands of dollars, you know, to, you know, do apartment deposits and all kinds of stuff. So we have money to set up ourselves if we need to. And then every month we have a budget, and we live in that budget. And right now our budget is $3,000. And we're not going to have any issue doing that, because with house sitting, you know, we're able to offset that. And if we want to not house sit and go somewhere else, we just have to go somewhere where that $3,000 budget is going to be possible, which it should be here in Ecuador.
Or, as you say, we use other funds to.
Yes, if
we say, hey,
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
go to New Orleans for 8 months and there's no house sitting available.
Well, then we would go there and live. We wouldn't go there on a vacation. We don't take vacations. Vacations are very expensive.
Thank you, girlfriends, for taking me on trips that are shorter.
You know, because if you go on a vacation, like we can go to New Orleans, and you can spend $5,000 for a week in New Orleans easily. You know, but you could live in New Orleans for a couple of months on $5,000. Now, it wouldn't be a great life, but you could almost be there for 2 months.
But you're talking about people who are location independent, which I know is much more common, but it's not everyone.
No. That's exactly true. That is exactly true. You have to tailor your life a certain way to live a certain way. I don't know, that wasn't a great way to say that. But what I'm saying is you have to make the changes. You have to live your life a certain way in order to do something. If you want to do it, you can do it. But you might not be able to do it without doing this, and this. We're able to do what we're doing because we don't have a new car. Because we don't have health insurance.
Well, we do right now. We have travel insurance.
Well, yeah, we've got travel insurance, which is as close as we get to health insurance. Like we couldn't travel if we had health insurance. We couldn't do anything if we had health insurance.
Yes, we could, but it is true that the U.S. health insurance is not a priority.
We could plop down somewhere and we could get some jobs, and we could work and get health insurance.
And we've done that.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this in other videos. We've come at this from very, very different angles. I, unfortunately, for 20 years did not have the work-play balance, and I was like the horse from the story Animal Farm, you know, just being stupid. And so that helped me to be like, all right, if I really want to make some changes, what do I want to try? Now, I if you had asked me at 19, would I jump off this kind of cliff? No. And it did feel like that at the time. But For you,
Well,
it wasn't as big a move because
No.
you had come at it from a different way. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because we have talked about it before, is two different perspectives, but you can find a different new normal. And it doesn't have to be expensive. If you decide you like, whatever you like, Don't try to budget yourself out of that stuff. But there are other ways to make it work. And I could not see that for a long time. And then suddenly I was like, well, then try it. Yeah. And there's more than one way. So I agree with you. You can travel without a lot of money. I do agree with you.
Well, I've been traveling most of my life. I mean, I've been vagabonding.
That's true.
Ever since I was 26. I mean, the thing is, I got a job when I was 17. And I worked for that same company until I was 26. So I had a job. By the time I was 26, I had already worked at the same place for 9 years. So I hit my midlife crisis in my mid-20s.
Oh, God.
So
Don't go back into the discussion about what's midlife. Don't.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying, ever since then, I've sort of been a vagabond, jumping around from restaurant to restaurant, hotel to hotel, resort to resort. Until, you and I get together, and then we kind of settle down a little bit. But in all of my travels, what I notice is that there are two kinds of travelers. You can travel two different ways. There's people that travel are rich, or people that travel are poor.
What?
I mean that's a
crazy.
super generalization.
It is.
But I'm telling you, the more you have, maybe the more freedom you have. The less you have, the more freedom you have. So you can have a lot and be free, or you can have very little and be free. But if you want to be free, there you go. If you're in the middle, if you're holding your stuff, you're not as free. You don't have enough stuff, to...
You had to fit in the minimalistic stuff.
I'm just saying, now you're kind of on a treadmill where you're trying to hold on to your stuff because you don't have enough to let it. It's not going to take care of itself. You have to manage it the whole time. You've got this thing, but it needs your constant attention. You're not rich enough to where it just takes care of itself, or you just don't need it because you got so much. So you're stuck to that. Maybe it's a mortgage. Maybe you're raising a family, which is whole different thing altogether.
Really?
We don't have kids. We don't have insurance. We don't have a couch. Look at this lovely couch. Thank God it's not mine. I didn't have to pay for this couch, and I'm not going to have to ever move it. I've moved plenty of couches, and I hope I never move my own couch ever again. I've never owned a couch.
You've never owned a couch?
I've never owned a couch. I've never bought a couch and owned a couch. The closest I ever came to owning a couch was when Camera Girl and I got together, and she had a couch. But I took care of that problem.
I will get you a medal or something. Okay? I'll go down to the dollar store so you can have a medal because you did not.
I got this for not having a couch.
And we'll give you some others for not having this, that, and the other stuff through your lives.
I don't need a medal. My life is my reward. But anyway, I didn't know.
Thank you, Lisa, for giving him the opportunity to get on his soapboxes that he loves so much. He was dancing around them all.
But what was my point? I don't have
travel is not expensive.
It's not. It can be expensive or it can be cheap, but you don't have to have a lot to do what we're doing. Certainly, if you're utilizing house sitting, it's a great thing. But that being said, Camera Girl worked very hard her whole life, and she has retirement. So
we have other money. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you didn't have a retirement, then maybe we wouldn't be so footloose and fancy free at this stage in our life.
But you were before.
Well, yeah, I was, but I mean, I'm constantly thinking I'm dying of a heart attack. So, I never really worried about it too much because I always figured a heart attack was going to take care of it for me. And,
that's true. You didn't think you were going to live beyond 40.
I mean, nobody thinks they're going to live, whatever. But you're not.
I did. I thought I would be immortal. I'm brokenhearted that I'm not immortal.
You're not going to live forever. And, you know, the back end of it's not, you know, it doesn't look all that awesome. I mean, it's, you know, I'm just saying. I'm not trying
On
to
that
be
happy
downer.
note.
No, what was my point? I just had another sudden point. It's gone.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, that's all right. It probably saved everybody.
It probably did.
But that's it. Links to anything pertinent will be down below. Check out that house sitting thing I was talking about, especially if you, look at that, boom, especially if you know, you don't have to, you know, if you have a pet and you need somebody to take care of it, you know, it's a good deal, I think, and the price went up. What did we pay? I think we're paying like $140 a year right now.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's lots of sites that don't charge you anything, and $140 could be, you know, how many hotels do you have to stay in before?
Yeah,
$140.
You know,
And
we don't
they aren't as
balk
lovely.
at that at all, because if we use it one time, it pays for itself. And I think we did almost 6 months of house sitting last year. Maybe it was just 5 months.
But thanks for the comments.
6 months. Yeah, thanks for the comments. And why am I like car salesman? I'm going to get
because you're
we got
upper
some
middle
video
age.
footage, and won't always just be us talking at the camera. But we appreciate you listening.
Yes.
To us ramble away, and hopefully the battery's still working on this camera right here.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. But that's it. We'll see you in the future. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, my knees can't do that for that long.
Oh.
Holy smokes.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Alrighty, that is it. Click, subscribe, review, share all over the global internet sphere. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the Slowpoke Travel Podcast.